All right, welcome to Wayne's World Garage. It's hot out here. Foxtrot Hotel. 8 o'clock in the morning, it's 80 degrees outside and 100% humidity. Welcome to Maryland. Typical miserable weather. Anyway, if it was in the Navy, I'd say it's different, but it's Foxtrot Hotel, flipping hot. Check this out. We had a present from Euro, Annapolis Tree Service. Euro, thanks a lot, man. You're the man. We were needing some poplar, and he dropped off some nice looking poplar logs. These are all good looking logs. We were a little bit short. Last year, Alan, Phil and I, we pulled out piles of poplar from our property. There's at least 11 trees. This year, we didn't have to do that. So the good news is Euro knows what a good saw log looks like. So we don't have to go crazy here. And he doesn't bring us a bunch of stumps. I think there's one or two pieces of garbage here. But they'll make firewood. The guys will use them for firewood or something like that. But for the most part, we've got some good looking stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got time to watch it. This weekend's a big weekend. We're leaving tomorrow to go to Tuckahoe Steam and Tractor Show. It's on the Eastern Shore in Easton, Maryland. It's a whole lot of fun. A lot of youngsters driving tractors. The young kids under 10 years old have to drive the John Deeres. Who knows why they got to drive the John Deeres? It has something to do with the clutches on the Internationals and the John Deeres, the older John Deeres. And we'll go over there. It'll be rainy, it'll be hot, it'll be miserable, but it's a great flea market and it's a whole lot of fun. So I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get this video out. I might work on it this afternoon because it's going to be hot. Might work on it tomorrow, and I might not get to it till the following week. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. So today, you've got Wayno is going to be sawing up some of these logs. I'll pretend to be the sawyer. What you don't see is Tango 3, Tom, and Matt are there rolling the logs. They're to the left of me. I got the orange hat on. And you see Bruce in the white shirt standing up, and you see Andy, who's in the black sweatshirt. And Bruce and Andy are doing the offloading. And some of you guys say, man, what's that guy doing there sitting down just watching things? Bruce, the guy in the white t-shirt. His job, as we discussed today and a little bit recently, is absolutely critical because we don't have an automatic conveyor belt to get rid of the boards. And if I send a board down, or Alan does, or Cody, or one of the other sawyers, and we're not paying attention, and Bruce isn't on it, these boards will stack up. Guess what happens when the boards stack up? One of them is going to catch the teeth of that saw and come flying back at you, and probably knock your eyeglasses off or something like. Actually, could be worse. Check out YouTube. There's some videos of some kickback, serious kickback, where a big piece of wood comes flying back. We don't want that to happen, so we've got to pay attention. So for those of you who are paying attention, which is many of you who watch this video, you're kind of wondering, how'd this cant get on there? And where are these boards coming from that Wayne's resawing? Well, it turns out last week we stopped a little bit early because, again, it was 95 degrees and it was hot out. So Alan, who sawed up this log and left the cant on there for me. And I jumped on it this week to saw this one. So I'll do this. Now, what we're going to run into today, since, thank you so much, Euro, he dropped off all those poplar logs, Tango 2, Tom number 2, who normally sharpens our saw blade, and Alan, who normally does log rolling, are going to be moving all of those logs. We're getting a little bit better at not leaving the logs out in the open, where the munchkins can pretend to be lumberjacks and try and roll the logs. I suggested that we put some logs in the pond, and the people in charge really didn't think that was a good idea. I'm not quite sure why. Seemed like a good idea to me. This is another one of those really nice poplar logs which Euro from Annapolis Tree Service dropped off last week or the week before that. But who can see what the problem here is? It's larger than 20-inch diameter. It's probably 24-inch diameter. And we didn't put the 56-inch saw back on there. I kind of want to see how it works. But at the same time, I've got a bunch of white oak I'd rather saw up with a smaller saw blade also. So what do? As you can see, I can do one little slice off of this guy, and then we've got to stop sign it. So I'm going to send it back. Matt and Tom are going to rotate it a little bit, and we'll saw it again. It turns out it's not a bad thing because Alan and Tom are busy moving logs, and while they're moving logs, we don't have enough people to run the thing because Bruce can't unload all of the boards by himself. You need a couple guys down there because we want to sticker them and stack them and stuff like that. But it works out okay. So the nice thing is, as we stop sign this to get him a little bit smaller, what we're trying to do today is get random width 1-inch thick poplar boards for siding for a barn-like structure. So this works out pretty well because I got to cut a lot of this log to make them a little bit smaller so we can saw them with a 48-inch saw. But doing that, we'll just have to resaw a few boards, and it works out okay. So our loss is not quite as bad as it usually is. Maybe not loss. Waste is probably a better word. Now, by the way, what the sawyer is supposed to do, and you see, push the log through or the cant through until it just starts to fall down. As soon as it drops down, that's usually perfect. Send it back, and then they can take it off easy, and you get a little tab. Sadly, the board didn't quite make it all the way to Tango 3 and to mat. But it's not a big board, not a big deal. If it was a 6-inch cant and it was oak, it might be a little bit different story. But check this out. Every time, watch the board. As soon as this board drops down a little bit, I stop sawing. And I'm going really slowly. Right there it drops. You can see it drop. Pull it back. And as soon as it gets to where it should be, oh, I didn't do it this time. So this time it worked. But oftentimes it falls down on the ground and then Tom's got to pick it up. But it works out. So now what I'm doing is seeing how big this log is. We've overachieved a little bit because it's like 16 or 17 inches, but it's perfect. So now the part that we just sawed, I'm going to put flat on the carriage, and then we'll cut some 6-inch cants out of it. And why aren't we making boards? Well, remember, as I said earlier, we're a little bit short on people here today. And with not quite enough people, we can't really stack the boards and sticker them as nicely as we want to. So Alan will get a bonus if he saws next week, and he'll have the opportunity to saw up these nice cants that we've got made for him. So here's what we've all been waiting for. I'm pulling this to get a 6-inch cant. And out of that 6-inch cant, we'll get some nice 6-inch boards. And like I said, not perfect, but it doesn't matter. It's siding for a barn. The good news is, check this out. The saw is working extraordinarily well. Memo to all, if it isn't working right, make sure the bits are sharp and make sure our lead is spot on. The lead was not quite enough 3 weeks ago, and we had some problems with it overheating. It's not overheating a bit right now, which is exactly what we want. So there's our first cant, and now we'll get the second cant going. So why does Wayno start sawing this cant, then all of a sudden stop sawing this cant? Well, it turns out the dog furthest from me is a little bit close to where the saw blade is going to be slicing this cant or this log. It turns out it's probably not going to hit, but I don't like the odds of probably, and it's real easy to simply reset the dog a couple inches in, and there you go. That's going to be it for this episode of Wayne's World Garage. Hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up. Pass it on to your friends. Need more people to look at these things. Otherwise, I just may stop doing them. It does take a fair amount of effort. I enjoy doing it. I'm playing. But I don't want to keep doing it if not a whole lot of people are going to watch them. Anyway, let's make this one go viral. I don't know why it would. Happily, I've got 3 nice cants here for Alan for next week if he's going to be the sawyer. And he'll be able to stack one on top of the other and crank out a lot of boards very, very quickly. Hopefully we'll have a full crew and we'll be able to do that. Again, thanks so much to Euro from Annapolis Tree Service for dropping off these gorgeous poplar logs. They're just really, really nice looking logs.